And you're welcome back to the polls. Apologies there for the hiccup in connecting with Eric Lottie. We'll do that shortly, but we know that the Ghana Wildlife Society is asking for security to be beefed up at the Accra Zoo. We can now listen to the Executive Director for the Society.
We took time to inspect and to put in the fence and to make sure that the lions are secure. And when people are coming to be conducted around, for security, we shouldn't be afraid and take this single incident as a sign of insecurity. We want to assure the general public that the zoo is a secure place. The fence that have been put around are okay. It's abnormal for a lion to want to break the fence and come out. So we want to assure the general public that the zoo is secure. This is just a single one-off incident that we don't think that should let people think that the place is insecure. No.
Do you think something more should be done to improve security and safety? For example, people are asking, do we have CCTV cameras around that could help us even identify what really happened? So to you, what else do you think can be done to improve security and safety at the facility?
Obviously, the use of technology will improve the situation. CCTV definitely is something that we welcome if we have the funds. Also, increasing the number of staff and patrolling the area will also be something that we can consider. So yes, all those are measures that we need to enhance in order to enhance the security. But for now, we want to say that this is just a single incident that we need to just, we will look at the issues and then see how best we can help the Wildlife Division to improve upon the security.
Well, that's the position of the Ghana Wildlife Society on that. Eric Lottie is the co-director of Friends of the Earth and also a former executive director for the Ghana Wildlife Society. He'll be joining us shortly to share his concerns with us. Eric is back on with us. Let's try and see if the connections will be much more favorable this time around. Eric, if you are on with us, I was just indicating that I don't recall this happening in recent history, but how often do we see such unfortunate incidents occur, if not in Accra, elsewhere?
Yes.
I'm with you, Eric.
I want to use this opportunity to extend my greetings to your viewers. Yes, the incident that happened yesterday actually seldomly happen in Ghana, in our zoos in Ghana, be it Accra or Kumasi. But in other parts of the world, I think what immediately comes to mind is what happened in 2021 in Florida. There is a zoo it's called the Nickel Zoo, where a young man, a 20-year-old young man, tried to feed a tiger in its enclosure, and it got pulled, into the enclosure. It was shot there and then. So it's occasionally happens all around the world. So this is not a new phenomenon.
But yeah, at least you're pointing out that in our case, we've not had this in a long time. But we do know that investigations are definitely underway. Even before that process is exhausted, of course, there are some flaws that some experts are pointing to. Do you also have a feeling that there were some breaches in the standard procedures for keeping the zoo safe?
I will not be tempted to prejudice what the task that has been set up for the investigators. But you see, I read a press statement that was put out yesterday by the Forestry Commission. I would have thought that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources would have actually spearheaded the process, commission investigation. I'm not against the fact that the police has been asked to step in swiftly, but this is zoo management is a specialized area. I would have expected not just the police, but a panel which will be a constellation of people who have expert knowledge in zoo management, because zoos all over the world, zoos are highly regulated. So there are standards that regulators are, or the zoo authorities are expected to follow. So as to whether those standards or those protocols were followed, it will be very difficult to say now. So I am thinking that, well, if the police will have the expertise to do this, that will be it. But I think the public will be expecting to a very open and a transparent investigation into this matter, since it involved a loss of somebody's life.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm glad that you're touching on the issue of transparency, because help me with this. The general impression we all have is that when, for instance, you bring in such carnivores and lions and wild, animals, you bring them from the wild, you often tame them or put them under some level of control. Is that notion correct? Or you just keep them in the zoos as you found them? Is that what happens?
Well, this notion is very erroneous, because you cannot, in a modern zoo, even authorities are encouraged to create conditions that mimic that of the natural environment, or that's conditions that exist in the wild. So it would be very ridiculous for somebody to tell me the animals that, have been put in those enclosures must be tamed, because they are, we try as much as possible to mimic the conditions in the natural environment in the zoo. But zoos are actually set out for a purpose. So one is to create entertainment or promote tourism, because kids in Accra will scarcely find those animals that are kept in the zoo, scarcely find them in Accra unless they travel elsewhere, like Moli National Park, to see an elephant, or to see those rare animals normally not found in the cities. So zoos are set up to bring the animals closer for education purposes, to promote tourism, and also for scientific purposes, because some of the enclosures, animals are kept for research, to study their breeding patterns, how they feed or forage. It could be a lot more. So that's the essence of setting up these zoos.
So it's not as though they are friendly.
Sorry, can you say that again?
It's not as though they are friendly.
No, they are not expected to be friendly, because they are wild animals. Yes, which has been brought, enclosed.
Right.
For a specific purpose.
Okay, then. A couple of
So
months
once
back,
they've been brought into those enclosures, it doesn't mean they become domesticated.
Right. But a couple of months back, of course, we all saw that viral footage of some lions being kept at the Accra Zoo. The fact that they are growing lean, depicting arguably some sort of suggestion that they are not being fed well. Giving that account and the viral footage that has gone around, is it wrong to conclude that, well, if you had fed the lions well, they may not have attacked this individual at the center of this unfortunate incident?
Yes, there may be several factors that may push a lion to attack or devour somebody. It may not necessarily mean the lion should be hungry before it attacks its prey, because human beings are one of the preys of tigers and lions. So it may be wounded, or it may be protecting its calf in the enclosure. So the fact that the animal has been fed well doesn't mean that it won't attack its prey. When it's provoked, or when you hurl stones at it, it will by all means come at you. So they may be wrong in making that assertion that they are not being fed well, because keeping those animals in zoos is a very expensive enterprise. So it demands a high level of expertise. It demands a huge budget. Imagine bringing lions into the Accra Zoo. You need to feed them with the right balance of nutrition from time to time. So it's no joke. So it might be true that the lions are not being fed well, but I cannot conclude on that assertion, but it may be true.
For now, we at least know that, of course, many persons will be shying away from patronizing the zoo, particularly the one in Accra. What steps for you should be taking to reassure patrons that when you go there, you'll be safe?
Yes, I think the public must be sensitized and educated very well. I don't know whether they where inscriptions, prohibitory or warning inscriptions, the right warning inscriptions have been placed at the right places in the zoo. But the zoos are supposed to have places well labeled, ensuring that visitors know the rules, the do's and don'ts within the zoo. I was citing a situation where somebody mistakenly, it wasn't a pet zoo, it was a typical zoo, a normal, the regular zoo. So the person attempted feeding the tiger, and it was dragged into the enclosure until the animal was shot, and they set the victim free. So it is important that the zoo authorities of the Ghana Wildlife Division educate the public very well. But I think yesterday's incidents will also serve a warning to the general public to adhere to the rules pertaining to visits to the zoo.
And I mean, the area itself, is it premature to start asking for the relocation of the zoo? Will it be far-fetched? Because this is an area where we know a lot of people go there to pray and for other religious purposes. Is this the time to just consider that move, to move them away from where they are now?
I would disagree. I would disagree to any person who comes with that suggestion, because in many parts of the world, in very big zoos in South Africa, in the United States, most of these zoos are in the center of the cities. I think I briefed you on the key reasons why zoos are set up. So you can't go and set up a zoo far away, because it's the purpose of bringing it to the city is to bring nature close to the people in the city. So in those areas, the zoos or the enclosures have been managed effectively without any accidents. So I think the proper thing to do is to ensure that security measures are put in place, or the right measures are put in place to keep the animals where they are, or to fend off visitors who visit these zoos. So I think it will be early days here to call for relocation of the Accra Zoo. I think it is serving a good purpose being located in the city.
And finally, for the authorities?
Yes, I think I will add my voice to the suggestion by the Executive Director of the Ghana Wildlife Society, because generally the government allocates.
Well, looks like we've lost Eric one more time, but this point is well made. Thank you.
If a very scanty budget
Eric,
been allocated to the management.
Okay, looks like we've lost Eric. We'll definitely reconnect sometime again. Eric Lottie, co-chair of the Friends of the Earth, joining us there and sharing his views with us on the Johnny Channel of the Ministry.